What's up, everybody, and welcome to Sober Living Life. My name is Mike, also known as Drunk Ass Mike, and how I got that name? Well, sober October, and I wasn't participating. Now, if you've been here before or you're one of my subscribers, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. If you like what you hear today, please hit the like button and leave a comment. If you want to hear more, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll always know when I upload. So I got a message from one of my subscribers. I had spoke about me being homeless before. And they left me a message, or they left me a comment, and they said, why don't you talk about it? So I thought it sounded like a good idea. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I was homeless, how I felt, and how I got myself out of it. So, to make a long story a little bit shorter, I became homeless. I was in a relationship for 10 years, got 2 beautiful kids out of that relationship. And, I was young, and things didn't turn out the way that I had planned. And, when you're in a relationship with somebody, and you got kids by them, things get rough. And I didn't know how to handle it, honestly. And so we broke up, and I really didn't. I didn't have anything, She stayed with the house and the kids, and I was by myself. That's all. I was drunk all the time, so it was pretty much my fault. I ruined it. I couldn't keep a job. I could never. I was always hanging out because I always wanted to go get drunk. And that was the beginning of the alcoholic stage. It wasn't really the beginning. It was more towards the middle. It was when I was starting to become dependent on alcohol. It wasn't like that at the beginning, but it got to that point. But I ended up homeless. I ended up staying with my brother for a while. Rest in peace, bro. But I was depressed. I was down in the dumps. I couldn't shake my alcoholism. So I ended up homeless. I had to live. I was couch surfing. I was living here, living there. I had some friends. They let me sleep on the couch and sleep on the floor. But it was like I still couldn't shake the alcohol. So I would get up, go get beer, hang out all day, just doing nothing with my life. Trying to maintain, but didn't understand that I really wasn't maintaining. A couple things went bad with my friends. Pretty much my fault too. And I ended up on the streets. I never lived in a tent or anything like that, because that really wasn't allowed back then. You didn't see too much of that going on. So it'd be times that I would just walk the streets all night. I would get drunk, or we would go to the bar or something like that, and then once nighttime came, it was kind of like I dreaded nighttime to come, because it was like, okay, I know once the bars close, that literally I didn't have anywhere to go. So some nights I would spend just walking the streets at night. It made me feel like a loser. Definitely felt like a loser. Made me feel like I wasn't worth anything. I had clothes, all the stuff that I pretty much owned, it was gone. I had a few clothes, and then I didn't have clothes. Sometimes I would wear other people's clothes, so I didn't have anything. I would scrape up money here and there or I'd do things to kind of get me a couple dollars. But I would drink it up. If I came up on some shoes or some clothes or something, I would try to keep them the best I can. But it pretty much didn't work. I remember one night I just didn't have anywhere to go. I'd been walking all night. I was tired, and I went to where just a lot of people, just roam the streets, and I ended up going to sleep on a bench in downtown Portland, in front of the bus station, because I don't know. I just felt like that might have been the safest spot, even though it probably wasn't. But I was not in my right mind and just didn't have anywhere to go. So I went to sleep in front of the bus station. And, I woke up. It was probably like about 5 or 6 in the morning. And I was freezing. I really didn't have anything on. Had on a coat, but it wasn't like a big puffy. It wasn't enough for me to be sleeping outside. It wasn't winter, so I was lucky for that. But I woke up from that, and it was like, I won't never do that again. And so I still didn't shake my alcohol habit. I start when we go to the club, it would be like I would just try to find somebody to go home with. Wasn't really promiscuous, because literally I would just, that's what I was doing. I would talk to a female or something, and by that time, beer goggles, hopefully she wouldn't notice that I was not dressed to impress. But I wasn't dirty or filthy. I would try to find ways to get myself cleaned up a little bit. But it had been some nights where I just wasn't able to get in the shower. So I would find times like that where I would, find somebody that I could go to their house with. And then I would go to sleep. I was tired. There wasn't nothing else to do. So it was kind of like, okay. I would take a shower, and I would get up, and I would do it again. Wow. This is, when I'm thinking back on it, it really, that was a hard time for me. But yeah, some nights I would come up with a few dollars. I would get me a hotel room. That's when I start trying to, do illegal things. Just try to get a few dollars. If I can get a few dollars today, I can get me a hotel room. So I ended up, I came up on a few dollars. An old friend of mine, he sold me a van for like $200. And so I ended up only keeping that van for like a week too, because I ended up getting caught in it, like drunk driving. Got pulled over, got it towed. Yeah. But I would sleep in hotels. I would get a hotel like every night. I lived in a hotel for like 6 months straight, literally. Somebody was looking over me. Might have been my mom's prayers, something. But I never got caught up too bad to where I had to go to prison or anything like that. So I survived living from hotel to hotel for about 6 months. Eventually, that wore out because I was still drinking alcohol. I couldn't shake that, so couldn't keep up. Became homeless again. I found somebody that, we kind of liked each other. We were both, doing the same thing pretty much, but she had an apartment. We were cool. So I ended up staying with her. Ended up getting caught up, and I went to jail. So I did like 4 months in jail. Got out. And when I got out, you know, I kind of was, I wouldn't say homeless, but by the time I had got back out, she had people living with her, and it was just like, it didn't feel like home anymore. So I ended up kind of being back to running the streets again, and I ended up meeting somebody else, and we kind of hit it off. So I started staying with her, and we weren't living like kings and queens, but we was living. We were at least able to get along and kind of keep a few dollars. Still drinking, still partying, but as things progressed, I ended up going to jail again. This time I got sentenced to 13 months. Just from not reporting, not showing up, not trying to do what I was getting told to do. I got a hard head. Don't listen to authority very well. And I ended up getting out, but when I came home this time, it was still a home. Wasn't nobody living there, so I would stay with it. And when you do that, you get tired, very quick. You don't have anything, you don't have any money, you don't have any material. All you got is like just you. And it was like you're not living, you're just existing. You just here till you die. You're not trying to leave no legacy, nothing like that. So it's kind of, but that's all I had at that time. So we ended up moving. We probably moved maybe 3 or 4 times. And then it just got to the point where it was like, I'm tired of doing this. I can't continue to live life this way. My PO tried to put me in treatment. I didn't really want to do the treatment, but I did it. They threatened me with inpatient treatment, but I didn't want to do that. So I ended up doing outpatient treatment. Never finished it. So they threatened me with jail, and it was like, yo, I got to get this straight. So I ended up going to another outpatient program. I finished it, and I was still drinking through the outpatient. Like, they would UA, and then after the UA, I would go get me something to, I would drink. And then I would say, okay, well, I can't drink because I might take a UA today. So I would calm down for maybe a day or two, stressing the whole time because I needed a drink. And then as soon as I took the UA, it's right back to drinking again. And I mean, that's where I was living. So once I completed the outpatient program, my PO let me off paper. So I was drinking again, full blown drinking this time again. And when you quit something, it gets even worse when you able to do it again. So that's what I was doing, and then my life just went. We ended up homeless again, sleeping on people's floors for a minute. Just wasn't able to take care of my business, And then when you with somebody, and then they have kids, it's kind of like, what am I doing? That loser feeling came back. The feeling of, I'm not worth anything. You know, you drink it away to try to make it feel better. But then when you wake up and you sober again, those feelings are right back. So you got to pick up a bottle to drink again, and now you got a drinking problem. And you can't drink away a drinking problem. Trying not to stress about it. So, I just seen that I was going downhill. My kids were starting to get older. They were starting to understand. Like, you still love me as a dad, but they're understanding and seeing that I have a problem now, or they're recognizing it. My oldest was 16, so she understood. She knew what was going on. But, the younger ones, they didn't really, they were starting to kind of catch on. It hadn't hit them yet. But it got to the point where it's just like, I'm tired of this. I can't do this anymore. So, I'm going to stop drinking for just 30 days. Give myself a rest. Give myself a break. But I knew if I could go 30 days, I could go 60. If I can go 60, I can go 90. And if I can go 90, I can go 6 months. So on and so on. So that's what I did. But I had to get to that first day first of actually saying, I'm not drinking anymore. And so, here we are, 9 years later, and I haven't had a drink. All because I knew I wanted more out of my life. I knew I wasn't a loser. I knew I was better than I was portraying myself to be, or I knew I was better than what I was doing. I knew that there was life out there. I knew I wanted to leave a legacy. I knew in general just that I wasn't raised like that. So, it feels good. I quit drinking. We found an apartment, and we were living in an apartment, but I'm just saying, once I quit drinking, we ended up moving after I started kind of getting better at what I was doing. I was able to go through a program to get all my tickets and stuff cleared up if I did community service. And so I went and had 80 hours, did that. They cleared up about $17,000 in tickets. And I got my license back. That helped a lot. So then I was able to, kind of like look for jobs. Got me a little car. And then I started looking into, different, my mind was clear. I could see things differently. I could see things that I had forgot. So I started using Google and researching how to do this. What do you do to get your life back on track? How long will it take? Credit. How can I get my credit up? What do I need to do? I just Googled all that stuff. And I was able to find little situations that would help me increase my credit score. Or you could do this and make a couple dollars. I went back to school for a semester. College. I was good at writing. I only went for one semester because, I don't think I was ready for it at that time. It was too soon. But it has always been an idea that has stuck with me. But, yeah, I looked at all those things, and it gave me confidence. It gave me, I start feeling better about myself. But there's still some times in me where the alcoholic voice talks, and it's not like drinking. It's more like, don't forget who you are. And, I'm not that person anymore. So the me now has to sometimes be like, back up. I'm me now. I'm not that person. So that's my story on being homeless. Um, it's so much worse nowadays, and I'm grateful in a way that I went through it then opposed to now, because if they would have had like tents and you could do that stuff now, I probably would have never got here. I might not even be alive anymore, because I would have been content to continue drinking and living in a tent. Maybe, maybe not. But that opportunity wasn't presented to me then. So I really don't know. And I see people living like that now on the side of the freeway, um, just in all kinds of places. It's tents everywhere, all the time. And I understand. Like, I was that close to being there. So, I look at it and I feel sad for people that are like that. But I feel grateful that it's not me. And I know I'm blessed. Thanks for watching. If you like what you heard today, please hit the like button and please leave a comment. If you want to hear more, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you always know when I upload. Peace.